Hey Grace, how's it going?
Hi.
Hey, there's Jennifer as well. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so glad you guys could jump on tonight's call because your daughter, she's been killing it in math, Jennifer, and I wanted to get on here and be able to celebrate that because I think a lot of the times when we are going through math, sometimes it's just like we're getting hit over and over and over again. And once somebody starts figuring out how those dots connect, it's so incredibly cool to kind of see her confidence start to shoot up and start seeing her certainty show up. And it's just so incredibly cool. And that's why I wanted to invite you guys on because I wanted to kind of rehash her journey a little bit and kind of see where we started and where we are now, Grace. So I was hoping, Grace, that you might be able to kind of kick us off here today and kind of fill us in on where you were, you know, just maybe 2, 3 months ago before you even started the program. How are you feeling about math back then?
I had like no confidence in math whatsoever. Like, I didn't have any confidence with math. I was terrified of answering stuff because I was scared to be wrong. And yeah, I didn't have the best teachers either. So my math before starting with you was not good at all.
And it's a little nerve-wracking, right? I think you kind of mentioned I was afraid to answer certain questions because I didn't want to jump into the pool and maybe get the answer wrong, right? But you and
Yeah.
I, we've talked a lot about that, haven't we? About your mindset and about committing and just saying, you know what? Getting something wrong is not a bad thing. It's kind of the quickest way to get you from maybe doing something wrong to doing something right, right?
Mhm.
So, Jennifer, what have you seen?
Well, she hasn't been complaining about math since then. So even when she was still in school and she used to come home and complain about her teacher all the time, how she didn't understand and didn't understand, and she hasn't done that since. So that's
Yeah.
good. I can tell she's feeling more comfortable.
Could you tell that she was a little stressed out while she was in school, kind of trying to work through the math here over the last couple of years?
Before, absolutely. Yeah, I heard about it nearly every night.
What do you think, Grace, was the missing link? You know, when you think about, okay, I was going through my classes a couple of years ago, and now since joining the program, what do you think's been the biggest um, piece that maybe you've picked up? Has it been mindset, positivity around that? Has it been, conquering your fundamentals? Has it been challenging yourself? What do you think's been the biggest thing?
Probably a lot of my mindset and also the people I was around and the
Hmm.
environment. So it's a lot better being with you than it was learning just at school.
That's good. What would you say that the environment is at school?
At school, it's like, well, because in the classes I was in, I didn't have like the best students there. So, like, behavior wise, teacher couldn't get through anything, didn't have the best teacher. So it
Hmm.
was just super stressful, and she couldn't always help me on something. And I felt bad if I didn't understand something the first time, having to ask her again. I could tell sometimes she'd get stressed out, being like, why can't you just understand it? It's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm trying. But I don't, it's just, then with you, I can actually like ask questions and I'm comfortable with telling you when I don't understand something because I know the outcome will be a lot different than at school.
Yeah, for sure. I always want you to feel comfortable, right? Asking those questions. If something flies over your head and you're giving me the deer in the headlights look, well, that's not helping anybody, right? We want to make sure that all of those dots are kind of lining up and you can kind of see how everything connects. And honestly, Grace, you've been doing amazing over the past 2, 3 weeks. Just I can see every layer, every class that we've had, you've been able to kind of master that level and then make the jump to the next and then see how it all funnels back down again, right? So it's been so cool being able to kind of watch you do that. So Grace, moving forward now, kind of feeling like you got a little bit more of a stable foundation. What are you most excited about moving forward?
Learning like better, not better, more math that at first I would like look at it being like, oh, that's not, I mean, I can't do that. But then looking at it being like, well, now I've like learned the right steps to do it. Now I'm like, oh, I can probably do that.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
easy.
think it's just having that confidence to know, oh, if I can do step number one, well, then I can do step number two. And if I can do two, then I can do three. And you just keep climbing, right?
Mhm.
Does the math problems always come down to the arithmetic at the end?
Yeah.
Is that a pretty important part to master, do you think?
Yeah, it's a very important part to master.
Do you realize why I hit it so hard in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, Grace, when students are in, classes higher than you, Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, all of those classes, they think they might be bad at that subject, but you know what they're actually having trouble with? Arithmetic,
Yeah.
right? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. There's so many people out there that think they're bad at math. They keep telling themselves that, right? But if they just learn that first couple layers that I helped you learn and really lock into place, it's a whole lot easier. Is it something that we can just let go of and like forget
Yeah.
about, or do you have to constantly
No.
keep working on it?
You gotta constantly keep working on it.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So now that you kind of are feeling more confident, right? Less stress around that. What do you think that's going to do kind of moving into these future classes and even other classes, Grace, or even other things outside of school? Do you think that confidence is going to transfer into other areas of your life?
Yeah, because there's like a lot of things in my life I'm not confident at all, but like math being one of the big ones. But then like now learning, being like, oh, I have a lot more confidence in math now. I feel like it's gonna end up going into other things that are gonna help. Because I have one of the big things out of the way, being like, okay, now I have my confidence back with math. Now I can work on the other things because I know I can get that confidence back.
Yeah, it's amazing. Once you kind of lock one area down, amazing how that feeling kind of, transitions into other classes and other areas of your life. So I know, Jennifer, that's probably what you want as a parent, right? To just see her confident.
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Jen, what would you say if, you knew somebody that was in the same position that was kind of struggling, same position as Grace? What would you recommend?
I mean, what you've done with Grace, I mean, that's been a pretty big turnaround. So um, seems to be the key for her.
That's awesome. Well, I was telling her um, earlier today when we were actually on our session, it's one thing to be provided with the information and the strategies and the tips, but I really want to just tell her, that she has been rocking it out. She's been putting in the effort. She's been coming into every class ready to go and just full of energy, Grace. So, I mean, I just want you to know that the information is one thing, but it takes the commitment and the motivation and the drive of someone who wants to learn it, right? Who wants to take the information and implement it like you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just came and you heard me talk, but you never actually like practiced or did any of the problems, right? You wouldn't get it. It wouldn't make sense. And so I want to tell you congratulations for everything that you've been doing here over the past couple months, moving into the summer. You've just knocked it out of the park, and to be able to kind of sit on this side of the computer and be able to witness that and see you make that transformation, it's just absolutely awesome. So I'm just so glad that your mom reached out and we were able to plug you in to that acceleration program and get you rolling and start locking in a lot of those fundamental pieces. So I know moving forward, it's going to be kind of the biggest change for you going into a lot of those future courses. So very cool. So, last question here, Grace. When you thought about math before, right? Was it a subject that you would say that you hated, you liked, or you loved?
I hated math before, like all of this. I hated it so much.
And that probably was because you just didn't quite understand it, right?
Yeah.
How the pieces work. I think a lot of us hate things that we don't understand, right? Now, moving forward, do you feel like you've moved out of that hateful state and moving towards the other side of the spectrum?
Yeah, and a lot of my like stress is now gone because when I didn't understand math and like I'd have all this stuff to do, they're like, I don't know what to do and nothing's clicking. But then after this, I'm like, I have like a big weight off my chest now. It's like I understand things or I don't understand things. I have help. I have
Mm-hmm.
a person I can reach out to ask for help.
Yeah, and I hope that you realize that I'm here. If you ever have a question, if you have an area where you're confused, please reach out to me, email, text message, whatever. We'll make sure that you get that cleaned up and you're ready to rock and roll moving forward. Okay. So guys, I'm just like absolutely thrilled, Grace, with where you've gotten to and just putting the work in. And Jen, it's been awesome being able to like connect and see that process happen. So I'm excited to move forward here with Grace into the next, part of her journey and make sure that we can keep moving towards that area of loving math instead of hating math. So awesome, guys. Well, I'm really glad that you guys were able to jump on here just to kind of recap your journey, Grace, and congratulations on making it to this point.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Well, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night, and we'll catch up with you guys soon.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Bye.
See you, Grace. Good job.